Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedra Emor. In order to understand Sedra Emor, I'd like to tell you a story about a man named Andrew. The doctor had just broken the news to Andrew. The injury and its scar would be with Andrew for the rest of his life. Although no fault of his own, the first impression Andrew would give others would always be of a scarred and injured man. Whenever meeting new people, he would have to overcome the first blemished impression, and only then could he allow people to understand and see who he really was. After he left the doctor's office, Andrew asked to be taken to the Kotel, to the Western Wall. Andrew thought that studying this week's Sedra could help him gain perspective and deal with his new injury. Upon opening a Chumash, Andrew thought that God must be mocking him. He read the pasuk, and pardon me for reading, but you have to hear the words. Hashem told Moshe to say to Aaron, "Any man of your descendants," meaning any Kohanim, "who had a blemish shall not come to offer the bread to God." A blemished Kohen could not do the service in the way that a regular healthy Kohen could. Andrew couldn't believe that even God rejected blemished individuals. Even the word to use to describe someone with a deformity, blemished, hurt Andrew. He understood that people would mock and judge him based on his scar, and not who he really was, but God as well. The tears streamed down his cheeks, and they quickly turned to sobs, and eventually even to heaving. An old man sat down next to Andrew and put his arm around Andrew's shoulder and asked him what the problem was. Andrew explained his incredulousness and hurt that God would ban him from the service simply because of his deformity. The old man ran and brought Andrew the writings of the Rabbi. He read to Andrew that the purpose of the temple was to stun and impress people with its aesthetic beauty, so that they take a visit to the Beit HaMikdash with sufficient gravity. The Beit HaMikdash rules weren't inherently meaningful, as, say, Torah study and prayer were, but they were designed simply to impress people. The old man explained that blemished people would distract from the Beit HaMikdash aesthetic role of impressing people, but God wasn't rejecting the people at all. They were equal to others in God's eyes, and the meaningful services that they performed, the mitzvot they observed, the prayers that they offered, and the Torah study was on par with those of any other person. Andrew was calmed by the old man's explanation, and with renewed vigor went out to study Torah and become a scholar himself. Shabbat Shalom.